All right, we are live on this Friday morning. Welcome to the morning show, everybody, here on Stock Market TV. Spencer Israel, Steve Strazza, back at home. JC Parets, not here. JC has no voice. He said he can't talk. He said it's worse than a Wednesday. He said he literally cannot talk. So we don't have JC, but I got Steve back at the crib, back in Key West, back where he's comfortable. He's got his setup, he's got the whole thing. So he's back in action. And we got a show today. Here's what we got going on. We got a jobs number that just came in. We'll talk about that. We have some earnings starting to trickle in. It's the very first earnings of the Q4 earnings season coming in today. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about crude oil. Insurance stocks finally starting to react to these fires in California. I've been waiting for 2 days, and this morning they're finally reacting. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk crypto with Louis because it's Crypto Friday. We'll have Alfonso on the show. We'll have Kenny on the show. And yes, exactly right, Jason. Jason Wong in the chat, everybody. Smash the like. He's absolutely right. Do that while you can. And let's go. That's not your office.
No, not quite yet. Office will be Monday.
Okay.
I came back and there's too much wire management in my office. I got a lot of equipment. You guys have sent me really too much stuff over the years. You make this all very complicated. So we had to unplug everything. And now it's a replugging exercise, really.
It takes time. It's like a sweaty exercise. You're under the desk. You're crawling around on the floor. It's a whole thing.
I can't do it. My guy's coming over right after the show.
Great. Wonderful. All right. Hey, you want to hear about this? This jobs number?
Can you tell I'm back on the island, man?
he's got the island swag. Yeah.
All right, talk to me about your inflation or your payrolls or the farms.
Oh, you did. Yeah, I guess you could call it a hot number. It was a big beat. Expectation for the jobs number was 165,000 new jobs added last month. Actual 256. So from an estimate of 165 to a real of 256, unemployment rate fell to 4.1%, below the 4.2% estimate. And yeah, that is what I would call a big old beat.
All right, great. So what does that mean, Spencer, for stock market investors?
That's what I was asking myself. I'm seeing, obviously the first thing you do, or I do when I see a number like this, is I pull up the futures markets and see how they're reacting and let that tell me what to think, right? Because that's really all that matters. So, obviously, it's been, 8 minutes since the number's been out, so it hasn't been a ton of time. But the initial reaction is we are down more this morning than we had been previously before the number. Mm-hmm. So I take that to mean that maybe the assumption of what, like, the baseline expectation of like 1 to 2 hikes per year, maybe is somewhat wrong. I'm not quite sure though.
So typically you'd look at the bond market.
You can do, yeah, that's true. I have that up on my screen as well.
And interest rates are absolutely ripping on this news. So a strong economy would suggest maybe lesser need for rate cuts.
Yeah. I mean, that's the initial assumption. But again, it's been 9 minutes, right? So if JC were here, he'd say, let him dance. But,
we might even get a rate hike sooner than we thought.
I don't know about that.
The way it's looking.
That's a little too flip-floppy, right?
Is it too flip-floppy for you? Because the market don't care.
They would have to say they couldn't just decide to hike, right?
They could do whatever they want.
You're right. They could, but what they have proven is they will tell you what they're going to do, and then they will do it, right? So they would do it later. They would tell you we're going to do it, and then they'll do it later.
Ideally, but was that the case during the pandemic? Right, there have been moments.
I mean, that was a freaking pandemic, right? I mean, so
Spencer, we've had recessions before. That
yeah, there have been emergency cuts and emergency hikes and all that jazz. Of course, this is not that, but you know,
until it is, my friend, is my point.
So this is okay. Yeah, sure. I guess there could be something lurking under the surface here. It's gonna make this an emergency, but for now,
emergency peaks, the first ever.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, 2 weeks from now, I think is the next. It's the end of the month. Is the next meeting. So we'll find out in 2 weeks.
Why are people talking about the wildfires for like the Federal Reserve? This is one state, guys, right?
Wait, say that again? For the Federal Reserve? What?
Why would they cut rates? Look at the fire. It's going to skyrocket the rent in one area.
Oh,
sure, but the Fed's not thinking about wildfires in their decisions.
Yeah, I mean it is the largest economy in the U.S. But I've been watching that. Obviously, it's been the story of the week here in America. And you know, I'm always interested in how real world events translate to markets, or vice versa. And there really wasn't a ton of reaction in the insurance stocks until this morning. Really, I've been
strange
watching them all week. And you can watch names like Travelers and Allstate and Chubb. Chubb has been going down for a hot minute here, really since October, but really been pretty steady, pretty I guess orderly. And now this morning you come in and there's a headline. There's headlines now about what this is going to cost, and now they're all down. And you have this one name, Mercury General MCY, down 30% this morning. And it was, what was it yesterday? I mean, it was down. Don't get me wrong, but it was like flat the day before that, right? So we're on day 4 now of these fires, and only last night overnight here are we getting like the first initial market reactions to this, which I found very interesting.
You know what, Spencer? I think that's all great. I'm bored of it already, though. I think 2025 will be the year that people say, holy cow, AI is really real. It hasn't happened yet. I think this year, our grandparents and parents are all using AI by Christmas. Critical mass. It's already happening. I think 2025 is the year we'll look back and say, wow, AI was far bigger of a deal than we even initially thought.
What is making you say this?
It's not hyped enough.
What is making you say this?
Listen to some smart people, talking to some of our technologist friends, and a lot of these businesses are coming to market. They're making money. I think there's going to be a blow up in startups that are building on all of the AI platforms and services that already exist, right? A blow up in small businesses is how that's going to work at first. If you think about it, Google doesn't want to do everything. So it's not a matter of like, can or should Google do this? They might not want to do something. These little things like booking a trip or fixing stuff around your house, physical AI, the actual robots. Have you seen the robots? They're already walking around on streets, delivering food and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like there was a headline going around. I don't remember where it was from yesterday, but it was circling that AI will cost Wall Street 200,000 jobs. Was it this year? It wasn't this year. It may have been just in the aggregate, right? But
it's all moving very fast.
Maybe
in different industries. I think 2025, we look back and we say AI was so much bigger than anybody even knew. I think that's what's coming. And I think higher interest rates, it's going to be fine. Because when you get an economy that's going to double GDP growth, right? Because
it's going to make certain things way more productive for 100%, undoubtable, right?
And we should be in a higher interest rate environment in that little, scenario that we're describing. And the interest rates are moving higher and basically calling it right now. Yeah, you should. Higher economic growth. If there's higher economic growth, all things equal, you should have higher interest rates.
Yeah, that's the quagmire that we're maybe approaching. Is like you have more productivity at the economic level, but less at the individual level. And the economy is made up of individuals, right? So I don't know. Like, what's going to happen if a lot of people really do lose their jobs to AI? It hasn't happened yet, really, at any scale. It's probably gonna at some point. Maybe, I don't know, this year. I don't know, but I don't know. It's what do you do when the corporate productivity goes way up, the personal goes way down? I don't know. We'll find out. It's gonna be weird.
Do we talk about the Zuckerberg yet?
Which headline? There was 15.
Him trying to get in with the new administration now, doing the biggest political 180 in market history.
I was thinking about this. I remember, like, I guess it was last summer. Zuck had that video on July 4th of him like wakeboarding with the beer in his hand and the thing, and I was like, and everyone was like, "Wow, he's so cool! What a glow up!" Get real, people. A guy like him has hired people to glow himself up. He went through the ringer.
No, there's a great article. There's a great article.
Those hearings a few years back when he looked like a pale robot, right? You don't think he hired people to make him look cool? Come on, man.
He did, and it's public information, and it's been covered. He paid millions, maybe tens of millions of dollars to a PR firm to help him change what was a really, really shitty corporate persona. And guess what? Kudos to him because he's done a great job. And the market continues to reward him for it. But this is just how it goes, right? Like, he is a steward for shareholders. He's got to do the right thing. Are you doing the right thing to your shareholders if you're beefing with the president of the United States of America? That's not cool, right? So he had to fix that, and he did. And I think, I've always applaud them for it.
I've thought for the last like 5 or 6 years that if there's one person that I would not want to be, it is him, because it just seems like the headaches that Facebook creates at the government level and the democracy level are so enormous. Like, and the questions that it, free speech, censorship, facts, fake news, the whole thing is such a clusterfuck that like I can't even imagine being the person in charge of that, and I have to make decisions that have real world consequences. Like,
I agree.
Good luck to him, man. I mean, I don't envy him at all. So,
but this new phase of technology is moving rapidly, and imagine being the leader of one of the biggest companies in the space, and not having a seat at the table when they're making all this new legislation, right?
Yeah, I get. Yeah, I mean, look, I guess they're doing the right thing, especially for a guy that likes people bending the knee. You bend the knee, right?
You bend the knee. Another prediction.
Okay.
Everybody's gonna love China by year end.
Oh, that's a lukewarm take. It's not quite a hot take. It's a lukewarm take.
Because other people are seeing it and saying it. Is that what you mean?
Because I've seen it said more than once, and also you got a little bit of a head start there, right? With the last
that market, at least from a technical perspective, we could look at it and we could say in 2024, China bottomed. Where it goes from now, we don't know, right? I think up. If you think about this, we're talking about AI. The biggest, baddest tech companies in the world, Spencer, where are they from?
The biggest tech companies?
Yeah.
Besides America? Yeah, there's not that many of them.
They're from the United States. And then the second country that also has some really big, bad tech companies.
Yeah, there's only one really, and it's China. They're the only one that has.
So where should we look, right, for other new opportunities in this technological revolution? Trump and China are going to make a deal, right? They're going to figure out some way to allow products and services to be sold from one country to the other. It goes like this. It's tit for tat. Will you allow Alibaba? Sure. Will you allow Amazon? It's like that. So the ones that get a green light, China's out there building some of the best AI companies. There's going to be some massive opportunities there. Some of the highest flying growth names in 2025 are going to be from China. The multiples on these Chinese dragons, as they call them, right? We had Dave from Round Hill on to discuss like these big, just absolute tech behemoths. Some of them are trading with single-digit multiples.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and
it doesn't take much, I guess, is my point.
And we've seen it before. Chinese tech stocks can draw down 99% and come all the way back. Like when COVID started, NIO was $1. It was $1, right?
And if China is smart,
now granted, now it's $4. So
don't get it twisted. They've made their mistakes, right? But China usually makes the right or the smart decisions when it comes to competing on a global scale. If they're smart, they'll recognize the opportunity that they have companies who can compete in this AI revolution in the same way that the Magnificent Seven companies are competing and leading the way, right, in the United States. They have the next best companies with the next best chance to make a big splash in this space. They need to just let them, not bootstrap them, let them use all their cash, reinvest it, build things in AI, and grow, and then sell those products to the U.S. They're going to make a deal.
I have no horse in this race, but I guess January 19th is the day, is the deadline at which TikTok must sell itself or get banned in the U.S. Do you have a take on that? I don't have TikTok, so I don't.
Do I have a take on the TikTok situation?
Yeah.
They're trying to figure something out, right? I think we got to give them that one, is the way it looks. And that's how you know.
Give it to them?
And that's how you know deal making is going on. Because hasn't the sentiment around TikTok changed? Everybody say, oh, Trump's going to be so hard on China. Is he? Trump's trying to make a deal with China. That's what's going on.
When's inauguration day? Is it next? It's next week, right? It's MLK Day, right? It's the 20th, so it's a little over a week from now. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's also a market holiday. That's weird. I don't know. I don't know if I like that. Oh well. What are you gonna do? Okay. What else do we have? We'll have Kenny on in a second. We have Louis here. Let's bring Louis on after.
I thought you do Kenny first. Do Kenny first, and then we'll do Louis.
No, I will. I do want to talk. I'll save it for Kenny. I want to talk Delta Airlines with Kenny because all the airlines this morning are ripping. At least they were last night. Yeah, they still are. Delta led the way. You're welcome. Good earnings, good guidance. What did the CEO say? He said it might be their most profitable. What was the quote? It could be the most profitable year in our history. Wow.
This has failed breakout and fast move to the downside written all over it. Too far, too fast for me, Spencer.
Yeah, they've been ripping. We've talked about this. They ripped all the back half. Look, you can see it. The back half of last year.
This is the most epic streak in the history of airline stocks. I'm long puts.
What's funny is the airlines all ripped, but there was quite a nice spread there in the degree of said ripping, right? In between JetBlue and American and Delta and United, right? I mean, JetBlue lagged hard. They had the whole Spirit fiasco, right? That merger situation, but
great points in the chat. I think robots will be putting out Wildfires by next year. Look up some of these physical robots and what maybe they are already. I don't know. Have you seen the pictures of these robots, Spencer? It's incredible.
Not any robots on the front lines. I've seen some really cool stuff though. I saw a plane. I guess it's a Canadian thing. It's a plane that dips into the ocean or the bay, and the plane picks up water and then just dumps the water. It's crazy. I've seen some wild stuff.
I never said AI was dead, Josh. I asked the right questions.
All right, we have the airlines. I want to talk about them with Kenny. Kenny might also have some happenings in Walgreens Boots Alliance, which is up 14% this morning because I guess they're not going bankrupt tomorrow. That's basically what they said. The numbers were above estimates for earnings and for guidance. First quarter sales up 7.5% year over year. That's cool. Kenny's probably getting down and dirty and all this stuff. I would assume he is. So let's bring him on and let's talk about it, shall we?
Yeah.
All right.
It's been a long time coming. They ain't come from my club, they tug it. Putting up numbers, 99 problems, and I still kept it 100. Hola. Yeah.
Wait, Kenny, your camera's off. You here?
Hey, what's up?
Hey. All right. Talk to me about these earnings reversals here.
We're short WBA right now, and we dipped into Delta Airlines.
Yes. Love it. Loving it.
Right
Loving
now,
it.
we're already short the WBA. And by the way, these two stocks that just reported earnings, it was pre-programmed 3 weeks ago where they were going to go. Take a look at where Delta Airlines just went to. 67.50 to the penny as it was programmed to go there. And then where did it just retrace to? The VWAP, my friends. But same thing with WBA. The crazy thing about both of these stocks, they're doing exactly the same thing right now. They just had a little rip to the upside, and now they're pulling back. They just held VWAP. And now if they break down, we short a little bit up here, but, we don't get aggressive until they break VWAP. But, yeah, right into it, man. What's going on?
I was going to say Delta hasn't broken anything yet.
Right. Yeah, that's the retrace. So 67.50. So again, as a scalper shorter, the idea is that any stock that's gapped up, you're looking to short it just to play the fade.
Right.
So when you hit that 67.50, the 67 area becomes your short, and then you could use the half as your out, which is called a hard stop. Because if this thing's above 67.50, get the hell out of its way. Same thing with WBA. As it got to 11 and starts to roll over, the shorters, we get encouraged as it broke down under like 1063 and 1052. And now we're just waiting to see if it breaks the 45 and pulls back to the 10. And same thing with the Delta Airlines. So, yeah, we're right into it. But, talk about the market just for a second. The quantum stocks blowing the top off. If the UVXY stays green today, I think the market might have some trouble. So
are you gonna stick with Delta, which is like the scene of the crime this morning, or are you gonna go to the other airlines as well?
I'm going to stick with Delta, and then I'm going to go look at JETS, Jets. So the Jets ETF is...
How we doing here?
The Jets airline, the Jets ETF is the airline. So
I feel like
I stay stock specific, but yeah.
I feel like you would have a love-hate with the Jets.
Yeah.
Purely for the name alone.
Yeah, it's the only positive thing about the Jets is that symbol. But yeah. Right now, I like shorting the WBA a little bit more because there is a bankruptcy on the table on that stock. There is some issues with them, and they have had 2 quarters of decency, and each time they've given it back. So again, the same thing here. Little blow off top, rolling over. We're short now, looking for it to break the 45 and hopefully tank down to, let's say, if it gets down to 1020, we're already starting to make some money on this, 1030, 1020. But if we break that little shelf from a 1020, then we're looking at $9.80, which would be pretty cool.
Pre-market high is 1094, currently at 1044 in Walgreens. So, all right, yeah, Kenny, this is your time of year, man. Right? They kind of start today. We get some banks next week, right?
Yeah, this is it. This is what we've been waiting for, and the timing couldn't be better. We just blew the top off on the quantum stocks. We have to address that, but I'll do that in the room because there's a lot going on. We have to talk about the call spreads, the SOUN, the Lunar, all those crazy names I gave you back in October. And I'll be on Yahoo Finance talking about all that stuff next week on the stock exchange. So we have to address all that. And I think as the bear here that's been trapped in a perpetual bull market, what we saw in the last couple of days, that blow off top, that momentum, the Carvana giving way, the Palantir giving way, and a lot of these names, it does lend to the idea that we're going to get a bigger correction in the QQQ, and that's where we're at.
I don't know. All right. Well, I like how you mentioned Carvana because this is also a trick I learned from Dennis Dick. I feel like you're the same way, which is whatever trend you're following, find the leader, right, and follow the leader. Carvana is the leader of the shit, right?
Yeah.
Like they were the first. They were the biggest drawdown. They were the first to rip higher, right?
Absolutely.
So whatever Carvana is going to do, Soundhound and Quantum are probably, they're not related in any way, shape, or form, but they're probably going to do the same thing, right? So
you got it, man. That's exactly what it is. Just like we were buying stocks, and again, to that guy, we were buying stocks because of the name of the stock. We're in a busted up weird market right there. And so I was just looking for when those stocks stop that momentum, that usually doesn't, that's a good sign that the market's going to have some issues. But we're going right into earnings season. That's why it's hard to now to focus on those names. I want to just focus on the deltas and the WBAs. But
good,
yeah,
they blew off just in time because they knew that you would have other things to focus on and trade. So that was very nice of them.
About me, yeah.
That was very nice of them to do that, guys. Kenny Glick is live trading every single day, but especially hard during earnings season. So these next 3 weeks, he's going to be going wild. Hitthebid.com is his room. Go check it out. He's there, 8 o'clock, 8:30 in the morning, all morning, into the afternoon.
We never leave. Yeah.
Ripping through trades. And this is the time. This is the time of year for that. So
Yep. All right, guys. Good luck. Be careful out there. Make sure you're with us in the room because I got some really key levels I want to share with you guys about the QQQ and where we can give way to. All right. So be careful. All right.
All right. Or Kenny's talking about a collapse on the Qs. I've heard this before, I feel like. But no, in all seriousness, Kenny is amazing at what he does. I love that the first thing he says to me just now is, yeah, we're short Delta, we're short Walgreens. I love it. All right, Louis, are you around? Louis is around. So let's do some. We haven't talked about crypto at all today. I haven't even looked at it, to be honest with you. So let's see what's doing in crypto land, and then I don't know. We'll go from there.
Got my fingers on the pulse, avocado and toast.
Morning, guys. How's it going?
What's going on?
Just here looking at charts, man. As always, it's my Saturday night. I'm always up early or staying up late to come on the show. Always got to be looking at charts. Listen to a bit of hip hop, looking at Bitcoin, potentially completing a head and shoulders. Like, what do we think about that?
Let's see. Yeah, my meme coin portfolio is taking a bath the last 2 days, so that's not fun. But yeah, what's the deal with Bitcoin? What's going on there? We got a head and shoulders going on?
Strazza is probably going to be in here anytime now, and he's going to say what I'm going to say is that this pattern has failed this entire bull market. This has been the pattern. We have this head and shoulders. We have this top form, and I say top with quotations there. We get that deviation, and then we just rip right above. And so, like textbook, what would I absolutely love in this market, in this tape, is for this head and shoulders top to quote unquote complete. We get that spike of liquidations, people just get bearish, and then we just rip right above. That would be the ultimate ideal situation. And now, of course, there is a little bit of a caveat there. So if Bitcoin is below that support, then you want to err on the side of caution. But then again, if we do get that whipsaw right back above and we complete this failed breakdown, that would be fantastically bullish. And I think that would be the technical catalyst that we could almost need that would embark us on our next period of price discovery.
In your morning note this today, I saw the headline that the IBIT had its largest daily outflows since inception. Is that worth overthinking or not really?
Yeah, it's second largest. I believe it. I know that the Fidelity ETF had its biggest outflow. But when I look at these ETF inflows and outflows, I don't really look at it from the specific one numbers. Now, sure, it stands out to you that they are experiencing these significant outflows, but I look at it from the perspective of what's the trend here? Is more money flowing into these ETFs over time, or is more money being withdrawn? And you saw that in March of 2024, that trend began to shift. We had that massive wave of inflows, and then it cooled off into March, and that's when you got the crypto market began to consolidate. Then you saw the same thing in September, a massive increase in inflows, and then now you're seeing the opposite effect, where you're seeing money being withdrawn from these ETFs. And so maybe it's the nature of crypto, but these ETF flows, it's quite hard to find a signal from it, just generally. But in crypto, it seems to have some sort of value where you're looking at these trends, whether there's more money coming in or leaving the space. So if we see constant outflows in these next few weeks, that probably wouldn't be a good sign.
Is there any?
Okay, Louis. Louis, you know I love you, right? Right?
I know you love me.
Does he know that? Okay.
And you know I love this chart pattern, right, guys? Right? Everybody in the chat, we all know it. However, I feel like it might not work this time.
Mm-hmm.
Cryptos have been so bad. Like, do this exercise. Spencer was just making a great point. When you're looking at a space, look at the leader. Can we still say that Solana is the cycle leader? Because if you draw up the chart of Solana, it looks a lot worse than this.
Didn't you just decide Solana was the leader like a few months ago?
No.
No? Okay.
What are you talking about? Solana was the first out of the gates.
Okay.
Q4 2022.
Okay.
Louis, back me up here.
All right. All right, dude. Jesus.
Solana was the leader by a long shot in 23, and then last year it was a dog. So that's why I'm questioning it.
You know, is that almost like the perfect signal that you want? Is that you are questioning whether it's going to work this time? So then,
I think so. Yeah. Like,
but look, to your point, there is that caveat. If Bitcoin completes this top, and if it's below that support, then it's like game over for crypto, at least in the short term. Like, you want to play it incredibly patiently. We've been talking about patience since the beginning of December, and that's been definitely the best strategy.
yeah.
But so if we complete that top, then yes, continue that patience, but then be on the lookout for that quick mean reversion, that quick spike back above that support level.
If Solana takes out its pivot lows from last month, I'm out completely. Over the course of the past 4 weeks, I've closed out more than half of my remaining position. Here's my problem with everything that we're talking about when it comes to crypto. If you got in at the right time, when these trend reversals occurred, your cost basis in Bitcoin is in the 20s. Your cost basis in Solana should be in the 40s.
You're trapped.
You're not trapped. Don't feel that way.
Sorry.
You have made so much money. You're up 5, 6, 7x in these positions. Don't give those gains back, right? So you can get out of something, protect yourself, and this is America. You can always buy it back in the event that you're wrong. The market proves that you're wrong. But I think it's time to protect these gains. I am being very, very aggressive in taking profits in crypto right now. I don't want to give my money back. That's where I'm at. Am I crazy, Louis?
No, I think you are totally right. If you got into these things when these underlying trends were shifting, you are up a tremendous amount of money, right?
Yep.
And so it's just being pragmatic, knowing that 2024 was an amazing environment, but then the same may not be true for 2025. We're talking about this. We're looking ahead into the year ahead. And we're saying just anecdotally, just viscerally, it feels like this year is going to be a little bit more messy. We could see more of these drawdowns, particularly in the equity market. And then how is it going to impact crypto? Well, we know how it's going to impact crypto. These things are higher beta. So if we have a little bit more of a choppy year in stocks, then crypto could fall into a little bit more of a hefty drawdown. So it's not being, this is a point that I've been really communicating, that it's not bearish to take profits. Because you're taking profits doesn't necessarily mean that you think that these things are going to collapse. It's being pragmatically bullish. You know, as part of the bullish process where you actually do need to pay yourself. And on the completion of a top like this, that seems like a perfect strategy to me.
If you're planning to get in these things and never sell them, you have the wrong idea about how you should trade and invest in crypto. I don't want to own these things at all.
Australia's a 1 BTC equals 1 BTC.
I don't want to own these things at all through a bear market, period. We've seen what that's like. Look, even some of these altcoins, they're already down 50%, 60%, some of them. And will they dig in? Maybe, right? That's the way we should lean if this is still a bull market. How long will it take? I don't know. But I'm having a really hard time at this point, this late in the cycle, owning these things for 2 years now, having a really hard time being patient and waiting for this corrective wave to play out. Because as it plays out, it's coming with downside, and I'm losing money, and I don't like it.
Isn't this the beauty of having the ETFs now, and the ETF options more specifically? Because you can, go put on a cover call. Go put on a cover call. You don't want to sell your Bitcoin. I don't want to sell my Bitcoin, but you don't like it now. Do a cover call, right? That's possible. That wasn't possible 12 months ago.
Well,
what a time to be alive.
When I talk about my crypto portfolio, I'm talking about a lot of things that are not Bitcoin, though, right?
With
Bitcoin, you're absolutely right. It doesn't suck. It doesn't suck.
Just reading the comments here, and they're pretty spot on. I think what Strazza was touching on is opportunity cost, and another one saying I think there's some real alpha in taking a vacation for Q1 crypto, and so it's this patience where you can think about it. We always have this instinct to constantly go, and constantly begin to trade these things. But just taking a step back sometimes is actually really helpful. And then it prevents you that when the good times ultimately and inevitably return, You're not trying to pick up pennies to try to claw back from a drawdown. You can immediately go straight back to making money. And so again, just being pragmatically bullish.
I love the way you're thinking about this, Louis. I think that's great. I also was just looking through the chat. I saw a comment from V1 Rachel. We love Rachel. She said, Meta's been all downhill since Sheryl Sandberg left. Sheryl Sandberg left in 2022, Rachel. Go look at the chart. That's a bad take, my friend.
That was a while ago.
Sheryl Sandberg marked the bottom of the stock.
Wait a minute. It's fun out that's actually true. When did she leave for real?
She left in 2022. June of 2022.
All right, June of
a couple months before the bottom. So
yeah. Sorry, Rachel.
Yeah.
We have the data, Rachel.
She stepped down in August. She announced it in June. She left in August. And then she left the board. She left the board a year ago.
Up 8x.
Look, the way like thinking about this sort of esoteric things about like what am I doing with this money and what is the point of it? It's you got to do it, right? Like you have to have these conversations with yourself, probably with Bitcoin more frequently or crypto more frequently than you would with other stuff. But because my meme portfolio was, I had 2x, 3x my money last week, and now I'm basically flat, right? Like, but that's okay. Like I already know what I'm doing. Like I know that this is either a zero or it's not, right? But it's a very small amount of money. It's totally fine. But yeah, if you've got real capital here with Solana or Bitcoin or whatever, yeah, you got to talk about this stuff with yourself. You got to think about it, thinking through what will you do if Bitcoin goes to 50, right? What will you do? You got to know. You got to know this stuff. So, that's my TED talk.
You don't want to hold that bag.
You know, in a great world, an ideal world, if Bitcoin loses the support, it breaks down and it collapses. If it gets back to 70, man, that's you back the truck up. That's retest of that ultimate breakout level. That's you back the truck up, and then I'm certainly going to be buying a lot there. For everyone that missed the breakout, because this thing literally popped straight through. Everybody that missed the breakout is going to be an idiot, or they're going to look like an idiot if when it retests that they don't back the truck up.
How about like short-term support levels that you're watching? Like, do you have a line in the sand right now? Is it just this breakdown level of this top for Bitcoin? That also lines up, Louis, beautifully with the election VWAP candle, which is also the breakout candle. Did you see the post I wrote about that?
I did see a chart about that. That's an interesting chart.
So it's right there, same level as the neckline. So I think for people with the short-term time frame, that's it, right? Nothing below there.
Yeah. And it's, that election catalyst was so important that I love that you've anchored the VWAP there. That you don't just necessarily need to anchor the VWAP to a high or a low, but to an important event where you know that there was a wave of new participants.
Can you drop that?
Again, we think about it psychologically.
Can you drop that link to the post in, Fonz or Spencer, how to drop a WAP? Because you're spot on, Louis.
Oh, yeah, that was a great post.
There's an art to anchoring VWAPs. I have been truly blessed in my career. I've been able to learn firsthand from, not just some of the best technicians and traders, but guys who literally like invented these things, right? Mike Hurley and Breath, Ari for relative strength, and then Brian Shannon for VWAP. I literally, had Brian as a mentor and would go to him, am I doing this right? Over and over and over and over again when I was learning how to use VWAP many years ago. So it's not as simple as just anchoring from January 1st. It's not as simple as just anchoring from an earnings date. There's other events that go on. You anchor from an economic data date, right? You anchor from August 5th when we had this volatility explosion in risk asset markets. You anchor from the CPI release date at the bottom in 2022, that giant bullish engulfing candle, right? If you're watching the market and you're paying attention every day, it becomes easy. But you anchor from anything with unusual price action or unusual volume and activity, really, is what you want to do. And that BTC election candle, it's not just the election candle. That's the breakout stick of an almost year-long range as well. So for me, there's the BTC election, VWAP, and then everything else on that chart right now.
Preach, brother. Perfect. Couldn't have said it better.
Yeah. All right, Louis, anything else?
Anything else on my mind? I mean, similar setup in the S&P 500, right, with that head and shoulders top. So what's your thinking there, Strazza?
Man, they're everywhere, is what I'm thinking. Look, it's one of these situations, right? Until we see it, I think you lean in the direction of the underlying trend and you anticipate these tops to fail like all the others. But I think it's time to build a list, like we always do, and start counting the ones that look like valid tops, right? Because as that list gets longer, then we want to start to maybe lean in the opposite direction, right? If you see completed top, completed top, completed top, then that's a change in character in these patterns from what we've seen earlier in this cycle. So make a list, start counting the ones that are completing, and as that list grows, then you could start anticipating more to complete, or a higher probability, a higher chance of the others completing.
Do you feel like this is probably the place where we need to really revisit that bull market checklist and then almost set the parameters around these tops? Because we're seeing a lot of them. Or is that overstating the inflection point that we're in?
Not at all. I think you're spot on. In fact, I think we were all on a call a couple days ago where we were talking to Grant and we were saying we got to bring back the risk checklist. And maybe we need a bull market checklist too. Yeah, I'm with you. Look, to me, it's that point in the cycle where I'm not playing any games. I want tight stops. The market's got to prove it to me, and you can buy things back. Remember, you can always buy things back. And if you bought these primary trend reversals, you bought them more than 12 months ago. I'm talking about equities now, right? So you sell that shit. You get long-term capital gains treatment. There's no reason to there's no reason to hang on if you bought the trend reversals. So don't give your money back. Biggest mistake I've ever made in my career is giving my money back during bear markets, staying too long. Right, I'll leave that party early these days.
That was a painful lesson for me in 2022.
Yeah, I'm not hanging out all night anymore. Those days are over. I'm 36 years old.
21 was great. 22 was oops.
I try to get there on time and leave early.
That's what that was. Yeah,
like a true gentleman.
Yep. All right, Louis. Thanks a lot.
Wait. Let me just say something. You said something that interested me, that stuck out to me, that long-term capital gains treatment. I don't really, what's that rule? And obviously I don't really follow the US taxation rules, and I follow the New Zealand taxation.
You get to keep a lot more of your gains, right? You get taxed at a far lower rate rather than the ordinary tax rate.
But Steve, you shouldn't live your investing life by that. Like, oh, if I just hold on one more month, if I hold on for one more month, right?
You shouldn't, right? So it'll be 0 to 15%, 20%, depending on your income, is the current long-term capital gains tax rate, as opposed to ordinary rate could be 40. So it could be a difference of double in terms of tax.
Oh wow, that's great. I don't know.
Louis, it's 12 months. If you have it for less than 12 months or more than 12 months, that's the cutoff.
Yeah, you save that money. But Spencer's right. You don't want to look at something and say, oh, I've only been long for 11 months. I need one more, and the market's crashing, and you're like, but taxes.
But my taxes.
Right. No.
Yeah. Hey, look, we've all been there. I think we've all been there. We're like, if I could just wait.
But my point is, you shouldn't be in that situation.
Yeah.
If you got into these things on time, these primary trend reversals, look at the mega cap techs. This happened a long time ago now. You're well past 12 months.
Yeah.
So you don't have that problem, right? Just cut it and get back in if you need to.
I mean, this is an attack show, but wouldn't it make sense to buy puts and then sell the underlying?
Sure, you can do that.
Dude, I don't know. Listen, I think hedging is for professionals. Go to cash. Just go to cash. So here's the thing.
The taxes, Steve. There's taxes.
Right. So if you're in this situation where you're at 11 months and you really want that tax treatment, you want to buy puts, right, and hedge a position, fine. But you don't need to do that if you already have the long-term capital gains treatment. Hedging could be hard. Right, I think a lot of people probably watch this show. I don't think hedging is the right advice. I think cash is how you hedge.
This is actually one of the reasons why I did not sell my fart coin when I was up 3x, was because I couldn't bear the prospect of telling the IRS that I made money on fart coin, and I didn't want to deal with it, so I just didn't sell it.
Apparently, they care now. So that's interesting.
Look, I don't know. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. It's a little bit of money. It's not even a lot of money. But I was like, I don't want to file that I made money on Fartcoin and Butthole. I don't want to.
You're gonna have to, buddy. You're literally gonna have to write Fartcoin gains on your Schedule D.
Oh gosh. Anyway,
but hedging, just to wrap this up, Hedging is not as simple as they show on those Interactive Brokers commercials that we were laughing about yesterday, where the woman just takes out her cell phone and is like, oh, did you see futures? I need to hedge my portfolio. Okay, I'm hedged. It's not like that. It's not like that. Some thought behind it, right? There's some math behind it. It's not for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Good points.
All right, Louie. See you next week. All right.
All right. See you guys. Have a good weekend.
Steve, we have not talked about oil yet. We said we would, and we
Oh
didn't.
yeah, energy.
Yeah, energy.
We got a spread.
Oil.
We got a nice little energy.
What's happening? What a candle yesterday. Wait, was that today or yesterday?
Okay, let's talk about this chart.
Today.
I love this chart, Spencer. This chart is
Today's
supportive.
candle.
What about it? What about it? Ooh, our USO calls are in the money. Shout out Chart Ninja Alfonso, always looking for those doubles. Looks like we'll be selling a double in 10 minutes here. That's fantastic. You know, it was a uncorrelated trade for us, right? A little bit of USO. We took a shot on Exxon a couple times earlier in the year. Didn't work out. I am very suspect of energy, but I look at this inflation expectation chart, and that's up here in blue, up top. Inflation-protected Treasury securities, right? We call these TIPS, relative to Treasury bonds, IEF, nominal yielding Treasuries, right? So you look at this ratio of TIP IEF. Basically, we fix the durations here. So you're seeing a very, very clean view of the market's expectations for inflation in the future. This chart, inflation expectations, tends to move in lockstep with commodities, crude oil, copper, right? Pro-cyclical commodities. And you're seeing crude oil break a little downtrend line here, complete a tactical base, dug in, held the lower bounds of its range again. Seen this over and over and over again over the past several years. I think it's go time. I think it's go time for commodities more broadly. If this TIP IEF breakout is real, and we'll check it. We'll check it with break-even rates, right? And make sure it's real. Look for some support or some confirmation there. But if crude oil's going, if commodities start rocking, inflation expectations are rocking, rates are going higher, the playbook for 2025 could be very different from the playbook for 2024. Wouldn't it be so beautiful, Spencer, if 2025 was the year where AI really took hold, right, in the broader economy, in our everyday lives, right? Everybody's using it, and tech finally starts to underperform because they pulled forward those gains already. They saw it coming from a mile away. Wouldn't that be cool? I don't know.
Look, man, the stats are already out there. The earnings growth for the last couple of years has, in the S&P has been negligible, right? It's been all multiple expansion, which is okay. It's nothing wrong with that per se, right? But yeah, maybe they did just pull forward a lot of future gains.
The market is a phenomenal discounting mechanism. Sometimes it can go out years.
Yeah, maybe they did. Maybe they did pull it forward.
It's amazing the way the market sees things before the rest of us do. And yes, one hole. Brian Shannon is the VWAP wizard.
I just, with energy, I'm happy for you, Steve, and I'm happy for your calls or what you've got going on there. But I've been faked out too many times for energy to,
I'm with you.
I got suckered in. I got suckered in last year. That didn't work out so well. So I'll believe it when I see it. How about that? But look, it's been a good day. I mean, big candle this morning. I don't know.
Yeah, Spencer, every time I bought energy stocks last year, I lost money on them. So I'm with you.
Yeah.
I get it. I don't know Fubo. I know Bufu. I know. What was that brand called?
What?
Fubu?
Fubo?
You ever see the movie Pootie Tang?
I don't know what words you're saying.
Fubo. I think it's
Fubo, the streaming thing?
Isn't that?
Yeah, what about it?
I'm just looking at the chat. I'm just checking out the active chat today. Shout out chat.
Speaking of Fubo.
Fubo.
I don't know if you care. I actually care a little bit, but remember that joint venture between ESPN and Fox and Warner Brothers? They're going to have like one sports streamer to rule them all. Remember that? It was going to be called Venue Sports.
No.
All right. Well, they announced it last year. They're going to have one sports streamer to rule them all, and they got sued. And that lawsuit was cleared up like last week or 2 weeks ago. And this morning they said, actually, you know what? Never mind. Forget this ever happened. We're not going to do it anymore. So no more venue sports. No more one master sports streaming service to rule them all. It's going to be still what we have. We have some sports on ESPN, some things on HBO, some are on Fox.
Which is terrible. Which is awful. Okay, the user experience when you have to go. I like to flip from game to game. What YouTube TV does is fantastic. I could do a 4-way split screen, right? So for March Madness, it's going to be incredible. If you don't have YouTube TV, you have to get involved. You can literally pick your own like split screen. I can pick 4 games to put on the TV. If you got a nice big TV, it's the best way to watch sports. It's great. What's not great is when I'm trying to watch a basketball game on YouTube TV and I got Monday Night Football on.
I know, man.
Or God knows where it is these days because all the big techs are fighting for these rights. And you have to leave one of the streaming apps and join a new one. Can someone invent a way to make this seamless when I switch from Peacock or Bufu or Fubo or YouTube TV or Amazon Prime to another one that I can seamlessly switch from game to game because I'm missing plays here and the user experience is being completely blown.
God forbid your TV's software is slow like mine. We're talking a 30-second process here to 30 seconds to a minute. If I want to go from Netflix to HBO, it takes me a minute. It's like a full minute of my life, right?
I'm trying to bet the live lines over here. I don't have time. I don't have 30 seconds.
Dude,
Hard Rock Bets
it's objectively. And then so last night I was at a bar last night. I asked, "Can you put on the hockey game?" And no was the answer because the network is caught in a dispute with the cable carrier. And I was like, son of a, he's like, so he goes, I'll check YouTube TV. It wasn't on YouTube TV. I was like, son of a bitch. This is why I was at the bar in the first place.
I'll tell you who fixes this. You know who fixes this? You know
Elon?
This. No, probably not him, but one of the other guys, right?
Okay.
One of the big techs fixed this. No, they have all the money. The rights to these games, if we're talking football rights, not many companies can or are willing to pay for this. Right, the traditional media companies.
No, that's the truth. There's like 4. There's like 4 companies, right, that have the bank account big enough to,
One of the Mag 7s will buy all the sports rights eventually and give us a fantastic viewing user experience, and that's why the Mag 7s are so good because these monopolies are different, and that's why they've been able to just run rampant, right, in the global economy because they make the consumers' lives better, more convenient. They make products and services cheaper, not more expensive. These are the best monopolies in the world. So good. I can't wait for them to own all the sports rights.
They are currently fighting with each other for that right. So
and they're going to fight with each other for all the best things, over and over and over again in the future. That's been the trend. I think it continues to be the trend. I don't think they break these companies up. I think if the United States broke up any of these Magnificent 7 companies, it would be absolutely detrimental to our leadership position in technology around the globe.
It would wreck them. Like it would, because like Chrome I forget what Google's ad platform is now.
They fund the losers. They fund the losers.
DoubleClick, is that what it's called? That funds the entire business. That allows Google to say, hey, maybe we can build some self-driving cars, right? Like some taxis, right? So
these are giant private equity firms. They're just they're just making these giant investments, moonshot bets, and then they have a primary business that pays for it all because it's so good. And that model has worked incredibly well. They keep, rising, getting bigger and bigger and bigger relative to everybody else because they're going to dominate all of the best things because they have the money to spend on it. It's a great model. You don't want to break that up. Be crazy too.
Yeah, that's right, Chris. It takes 8 button pushes to turn on a stream, dude. And especially for me, I am a chronic channel flipper. When I was a kid, I had to have the remote. And I control because I hate commercials, so I flip constantly. It's what I grew up doing. Now I can't flip. I have nothing to flip to because I have to. Anyway. Moving on. Enough about this.
Shout out to John Wick, the only person who got my Bufu reference. Thanks, John.
Sorry. 9:29. We're gonna open here in a few seconds, like 10 seconds. So that's exciting. What else do we? Oh, we have Fonz here. Fonz, you want to hop in for a minute? I'm sure you have a chart or two to share with us. Was there anything else on my list this morning to hit on? We talked about that. We did have some M&A this morning. There was a deal, Constellation Energy, right? CEG, that was the one.
Yeah.
They acquired.
This is one of the big nuclear names.
This is a $16.5 billion deal. Calpine's not public. CEG is up 16% on that headline.
Does the NLR ETF own a lot of CEG? Can we check that quickly? NLR, because this one is built so much better than the other one. What is it? URA? NLR holdings list. You know, I never know if I could trust these holdings lists on Yahoo Finance. That's the bell.
Yahoo Finance, not known for the quality of the data.
Yeah, so CEG, from what I'm seeing here, is the second largest holding. I don't believe it's in URA. NLR is built so much better than URA. It's also got this BWX technologies, which we love. NLR, still an interesting place. I think this is a mega trend in nuclear and uranium. I think this is a place that you want to be invested for the long term. And it's just starting. Some of the biggest, best-looking bases in the market are these uranium stocks. It's true. And we've been very patient, right? We've had to be very patient. Huge run off of the pandemic lows, and then a lot of sideways, trading a lot like other energy names.
I just noticed that Tilray had earnings this morning.
Oh my God! Do I have news? They are delisted. No, I got a text message in the middle of the goddamn night last night, and I'm glad I did because it was important, from the one Brian Lund. Okay, and I'm gonna read to you what Brian Lund said.
Is it about Tilray?
Spencer, the pot ETF, the first one, is closing down.
The MJ? No.
I'm just saying it's the MJUS. The MJUS. My tweets are not loading. He sent me a link. Amplify ETFs to liquidate the Amplify US Alternative Harvest ETF, the MJUS.
I mean, look, there are, at last I checked, there was like a half dozen cannabis ETFs. We don't need 6. We need like 1, right? So, wow. Yeah, the US, no, that's not the first one. That is not the first one. MJ is the first one. MJUS was like a not a spin-off, but it was a sequel.
No, but isn't this the first one to close?
Oh. Maybe I don't know. Is Toke still around?
Toke?
I don't know. Let's see. Is Toke is around still? What about weed? Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it is. Anyway.
Maybe
all right.
There's something there, maybe there's not.
Maybe. Fonz, you here? We got some charts for us? Let's talk about them.
Maybe pot's not a buy.
Hey guys.
Fonz.
How's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm good.
Talk to me. What's on your mind?
Well, on my mind, this week I know JC mentioned home builders, home construction stocks, so that's definitely on my mind. I bring this chart of home builders over the S&P 500. Home builders ETF XHB is in a drawdown of almost 20%, so that's very impressive. Definitely, you don't want to see more weakness in this group. So yeah, I think this topic, it's interesting to see if home builders are, telling us something more further weakness ahead for the broader market, or is just a correction itself and it will catch up to the S&P. So definitely this one, when you look at semiconductors, it looks similar, But another point, yesterday I wrote about the banks. They tried to break out of a monster base. They failed. It was the second attempt to breaking out of this massive base. and now it's back into the former range. And for me, above 61, I think you can start having more exposure to this group. But until then, I think we will see some sideways and maybe downside trends on the banks.
Alfonso, you just mentioned three really key groups. Three groups that I would consider maybe the top three economy stocks.
Yeah.
Banks, builders, and chips.
Yeah.
Right? These are all economy stocks, super pro-cyclical, risk-on stuff, offensive industry groups. We can't lose them all at the same time. That's like bull market over type of
Exactly.
thing.
Yeah.
It really is. So I think you absolutely nailed it once again. If you have like the holy trinity of industry groups that you want to watch right now for a signal, is there a better threesome than banks, builders, and chips? I don't think so. I think that's it. And on the topic of home builders, I'll always look at building materials, right, for some sort of a read. Building materials are almost in a 20% drawdown at the industry index level. That's no good. Down 18% from their highs, the election. So they would be confirming the weakness in home builders, and that's concerning.
Yeah. I mean, and right now it's like a tale of two markets. It's like a bifurcated market. Some groups holding up better than other ones.
Totally.
Historically, for example, seasonality in the first quarter of the election year is something, kind of choppy and messy. So let's see how it goes. But I don't want to sound too bearish, so I also bring a bullish chart.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So this is consumer discretionary versus consumer staples on an equal basis, breaking out of a monster base to new all-time highs. So this chart is one for the bulls. As long as we're above that shelf former highs, risk appetite is in the market. That's how I see it. I mean, and when you look, for example, to credit spreads, high yield bonds relative to U.S. Treasuries, they are above and holding above the prior cycle highs. So those ratios, those risk appetite ratios, are just fine.
You know what? Today, for the first time, the 10 years making new 12-month highs. And I do think this is great. Thank you for the devil's advocate. I think that's important. We're fair and balanced here. David Strong in the chat says rates are going to have to drop before housing can tick up. I think so. I think so too. Right? All of a sudden, these stocks care about interest rates. That is the new relationship there.
Yep.
So I think, can we have an environment where, and guess what? The banks are really not any different. Higher rates can rock the banks just like we saw a few years ago. We can go back to that place where everybody's talking about the balance sheet problems about the banks if rates keep moving higher. We probably will. You're going to hear about the banks having issues again if rates tick higher. But then my question would be, okay, so bond market's dragging on two of these, home builders and banks. Potentially. I'm building a scenario.
Yeah.
But why would semiconductors have to struggle in that environment? It's a strong economy. Maybe people aren't buying new homes or buying existing homes because of where interest rates are. Fine, mortgage rates are.
They're not buying any homes.
Well, there's also a very low supply of homes in many markets. It's not. There's more going on there also. So anyway, what can we look at the banks and the builders and say we've lost them, but it's a bond market thing? And then if semiconductors are still trending well, it's just trending just fine, which they should be able to in a higher rate environment. Do we say everything's fine? Like, do we eventually look at these groups and explain it away because it's due to the bond market? I don't know. And would that be the wrong thing to do? I don't think so. I don't know. Again, I got more questions than answers today, guys.
That's what the market does. That's normal. You should have more questions than answers.
Hey, who's this perma bear in our chat named Larry Thompson?
I never heard of him.
Larry.
All right, let's do some recess and wrap it up.
Yeah.
All right. All right, I'll start. I wanted to just quickly mention the latest free report that dropped yesterday afternoon. The one Jeff Mackey has I didn't even realize this, but apparently these next few weeks are like the biggest time of year in terms of like information on the retail front, because you get the earnings from the Q4 holiday season, but you also get there's this really big conference that starts next week, this like consumer conference that's really important. So Jeff Mackey has been following retail stocks and companies for decades at this point, and he just dropped his latest report through us. I'm going to drop the link is actually in the chat. It's pinned to the top there. Free report. He highlights a few of his favorite retail stocks right now. Check it out. And again, if you are into retail or consumer discretionary stocks that Fonz was just talking about, consumer discretionary, this is, in a way, this is the economy, right? And the next few weeks are pretty critical for this group. So get Jeff's report to the chat, and you won't regret it. That's what I got.
You want to go, Fonz?
Yeah, sure. Sunday, guys, I love soccer. So Sunday is a big match between Barcelona and Real Madrid. That's the final, the Spanish Super Cup final. So I'm very excited. I love these days. I love these games. So it will be a special day.
Who do you root for in that match?
Barcelona, yeah.
That's great. That's awesome.
Wait, what's that called? This is not the same as El Clasico? That's different?
Well, it's El Clásico,
but it's part of a tournament, right? So it's
part of a separate tournament.
Right.
It is like just one match. The winner is the champion.
Right. So normally they play once, but this year they're playing twice. Is that how?
Well, they played twice in the regular season in the league. They played twice a year, but in other competitions like these ones, or maybe the Champions League.
So this is a bonus. This is just a bonus match.
Yeah, exactly. So
Great.
That's what I love this match even more than the other ones, because also it's a final. So the winner will be champion. So
Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern time, Real Madrid versus Barca. There you go.
Go watch it.
All right, Steve, what do you got?
So I watched that new movie. I'm in need of good new movies. So if anybody has some, shoot them over in the chat. We watched that Juror number 2 the other night.
Oh, it's on my list. I feel like I will like it. Is it good?
So it's a great storyline, right? Where there's a member of the jury who actually committed the crime that they're holding the trial for. So it's super cool. However, and I'm a huge fan of Clint Eastwood. Like I'm a big Western movie fan.
Is he the director?
You can kind of tell that this movie was directed by somebody who's almost 100 years old.
He's so old.
I think he's losing his touch a little bit. It's incredible that he's still directing movies. I don't know how old he is, but
he's in his 90s.
He's very old. And you could just kind of tell the acting wasn't great, but it was entertaining. We enjoyed it. But Clint Eastwood, I think he's lost it a bit.
I'm sure he's lost it a lot at 90, whatever the hell he is.
The best Clint Eastwood Western ever. If you haven't seen it and you're like, oh, he's so weird, he likes Western movies, try it. Go watch The Outlaw Josie Wales. This movie will change your mind about Westerns. It's literally that good. Everybody talks about like the good, the bad, and the ugly. Josie Wales is so much better.
Okay. I haven't seen it yet. I will say on the movie front, that movie Carry On Netflix, not bad. It was
entertaining
for what it was. You know what? If you can look past the plot holes, really not that bad. So shout out to a good holiday movie.
Is Jason Bateman not the right bad guy though? He's funny. He's a funny guy. So he plays like this serious like terrorist role in the movie.
I like movies that have unique points. I'd never seen a movie that hinged around a TSA agent before. No one has, because no one's done that, right? I like when the main character has a job that we haven't seen depicted in movies before. So TSA agent, shout out TSA agents. It's a tough job.
Yeah. It was an entertaining movie.
Yes, I concur. All right, let's wrap it up. It's a Friday. We got things to do, so we'll be back on Monday, same time, same place. Todd Gordon is the guest on Monday's show. We'll have Jason Kurz on the show as well. JC will have his voice back by then. So we'll see you guys then. Again, link to the Jeff Mack retail preview in the chat. Check it out. Smash the like. Thanks, Fonz. Thanks, Kenny. Thanks, Louie. Thanks, chat. Go make some money. And have a good weekend, all right?
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Bye, guys.
I can't take no